Welcome back to the LifeForge Podcast's card review of Festival of Legends. We are on to Mage now. Um, let's just jump right in. The Mage's top rated card is an epic card, Volume Up, 4 mana arcane spell. Draw 3 spells. Finale, discover a copy of one. Okay, so drawing the finale here actually kind of hurts it. This would be really freaking insane if it didn't have a finale. Because once you draw the 3 spells and you want to discover a copy of one, which of course you want to, you can't do anything that turn. So everything is like shifted like to the next turn. Um, Drawing 3 spells for mage shouldn't be a problem, but sometimes it may. Like maybe you only end up drawing 2 spells instead of 3 because you only have 2 spells left. Maybe you draw 3 spells, but all the big mage movers and shakers are spells. Like if you are a mage and you are going to win the game at all and have any shot at it, you probably have some game-winning spells. Volume Up will draw them, and then we'll copy the best one. Like 4 mana for 4 spells. That's insane. You can't really beat that. The reason it's not like an S tier card, it's almost an S tier card. It's a A plus tier card. The reason it's not an S tier card is that you do have to have these spells to begin with, right? Like this doesn't independently generate anything. You do have to have stuff in your deck. So if you have it, this is great. If you don't have it, this doesn't do anything. If you have it and you only have 1 or 2 and you already drew it before you drew volume up does very little, right? So there is a lot of ifs in here, but this is seals the deal and makes your good deck more consistent. All right, it's an epic card though. You won't see it that much, but the card that you will see a lot, and this is A tier card, is Audio Splitter. 3 mana, 4/3 mech, fully on curve, Death Rattle. Copy the highest cost spell in your hand. So yeah, this is like that hunter card, which copied a beast. This one copies your highest cost spell. Overall, rather have the highest cost spell than the beast. Uh, but either way, they're both A tier cards, by the way. Good card. After this, Hunter has a bunch of B tier cards. First one, Hollow Technician, is a B plus. It is a this card. It's an epic card. It is a 3 mana 3/4, but that doesn't really matter because its ability says after any minion takes exactly 1 damage, destroy it. So it's a really complicated card. You want to play it with a combo or at least with your hero power. So it's like 5 mana or more, even though it's a 3 mana card. And it is a hard removal, if not a mass hard removal. But then on the flip side, it itself is really just a 3/1 if your opponent can deal 1 damage at all. And any other card you may have on the board or you may play during that turn has the same treatment. So it is a hard removal that also puts a 3/1 on the board. I think that's how you should normally look at it. And then when you combo with it, you can make it a mass removal, but it also makes the rest of your board vulnerable. So you can't play it if you're super up. Or you can, but you run like this huge risk, right? Of your opponent playing a bunker sergeant and you losing the game. So it comes out to a B plus, but it's a real big swing. Super big swing. All right. Now we're on to the B cards. First one, synthesize. These are pretty like average cards in your deck. Add a random 1, 2, and 3 cost elemental to your hand. So technically, it's 1 mana. Add 3 random minions to your hand, but they're all lower cost stuff. And the 2 mana elemental or the 3 mana elemental are likely to be on curve minions. So this 1 mana card does kind of maybe get you a 2 and 3 drop if you don't have it already. Has some value in that. But overall, 1, 2, and 3 cost elementals are not amazing. Like we talk about like cards that can do whatever stuff. These are just usually like minions. So yeah, speed, it's good. Like pick it, but it's not like a premium card or anything. Keyboard Soloist is next. It is a 4 mana 2/4 Naga battle cry. If you control no other minions, summon 2/1/2 amps with spell damage +1. Remember that skeleton necromancer guy? That is a 4 mana 2/4 that gives you 2/1/1. Well, this one gives you 2/1/2s. So that's good. And they have spell damage. So that's actually spell damage +2. Spell damage +2 is usually valued really highly, I guess for constructive purposes. It doesn't do as much in the arena, but here, I don't know, you can combo with a bunch of stuff. It is overall a B tier card. And then you have Cosmic Keyboard, another B tier card. This one is 2 mana 0/3 weapon. After you cast a spell, summon an elemental with stats equal to its cost. Lose 1 durability. So you want to play this before or on the same turn as you casting a relatively big spell. And then you get like free big minions. Which means that even though it is a 2 mana card, it's not really a 2 mana card. It's like a pretty late game card, and then what it does is generate big dumb minions to the extent that you have spells. Um, it's good because you probably need some large spells if you're going to do anything as mage again, right? Like we just kind of assume that you have these big large spells because in decks that you don't, you're losing anyway, right? But it is a very delayed kind of tempo, and that's all it is, right? It's tempo. It's a little bit of card advantage, and after you play it, you kind of lock yourself in because you can't play this and then play a bunch of 1 or 2 mana spells. I mean, you can, but you don't like really like want to. You want to get your money's worth, unless you get them immediately, right? Like if you Cosmic Keyboard and then play like I don't know, you play Cosmic Keyboard on turn 2 and on turn 3 I don't even know. You just don't. You will prefer to play bigger spells, basically. Anyway, it's Cosmic Keyboard. Uh, so yeah, after that, there's only 2 more cards. They're bad. First one is Rewind. Rewind is a D tier card, not totally unplayable, but pretty damn bad. 2 mana. Discover a copy of another spell you've cast this game. So it can only discover spells that you've cast, which means the mana is kind of controlled for most of the time that you can play it. 2, you had to have already drawn your big bomb and have played it and have not won the game for this to like be really good. So this is like not what you want. Like this is for 2 mana. This is really not what you want. Like this card should be like 1 mana in the arena. I'm sure in constructed, being able to essentially copy spells is like one of the ways to like create a deck or whatever, but not an arena. Like you really have to value a particular spell, right, for this to do its job. Speaking of valuing a particular spell, the last card in Mage is Light Show. 3 mana arcane spell, rare. Shoot 2 beams at enemies that deal 2 damage. These are random beams, by the way, I've confirmed. It doesn't sound like it by the phrase, shoot 2 beams at enemies, but it is shoot 2 random beams. So you're dealing 4 damage total randomly to enemies, not enemy minions even. So it could go face. And then shoot 1 more for each light show you've cast this game. Again, it's a constructed card. I guess there's a way for you to generate a bajillion light shows, and then you like light show, light show, light show, light show. You just kill everything and then deal a lot of damage to their face. Not an arena. This is an F tier card. All right, let's go to the legendaries. The legendary minion for Mage is DJ Manastorm. DJ Manastorm is a 10 mana 8/8 battle cry. Set the cost of spells in your hand to 0. After you cast one, the others cost 1 more. So this card is a D tier card. It is meant to be played with a really big spell, preferably a lot of really big spells in your hand. You're probably not going to be able to get a lot of really big spells in your hands. And if you do have a lot of really big spells in your hand, you will probably have already won the game. What does DJ Mana Storm actually add? Right? Like, look at what it actually adds. What it actually adds is an 8/8 body to your ability to play your big spells. An 8/8 body doesn't do anything. It is big, it is dumb for the late game. What you would generally rather do if you have big spells is to play a big spell while playing something else with tempo or even a ping or something, right? Just to control the board or stabilize your situation if you have multiple big spells that you're going to dominate the game with. If you don't have multiple big spells that you're going to dominate the game with, DJ Mana Storm is like, I don't know, like a 4 mana 8/8, a 2 mana 8/8 at best, after you've already hit 10 mana. And that's after you combo it with something else. Like, it's just not good. Because remember, this card doesn't give you any big spells. It requires you to already have big spells already in your hand. What this is adding is the ability to get them out really fast. Uh, the, the problem with that is that you have to have multiple really big spells, and the game has to be not won because you have multiple really big spells already. It's just this narrow set of circumstances where it's actually good, and a very large set of circumstances where it is unplayable, just a dead card in your hand. All right. One last card for the legendary in the Mage, and this is Infinitize the Magnitude. Infinitize the Magnitude is a 2 mana spell that says discover a spell. Finale. Return this to your hand at the end of the turn. So it is a 2 mana, like hero power almost, that discovers a spell. Because you'll just use it at the end with the finale and you'll get it back and you use it the next turn, right? So you are discovering a spell. How good is discover a spell? Well, I mean, it's really good. And you just have this extra hero power, this like warlock hero power for discovering spells rather than drawing from your deck. This one is an A. It's not like super game winning because it is removing a card, right? Like you have 3 cards to start the game. Now, if you get this, you only have 2 cards. That's severely limiting, right? This is why 10 mana cards are bad. Infinitize the Magnitude is like having an even worse than 10 mana card because all it does is draw you potential cards. So that's the downside. The bright side is that you have unlimited card advantage now, and you can hit your giant ridiculous bombs. All right, so that's Mage. It's a lot of big spell synergy going on here. Is it all going to come together for the Mage? I don't know. I think there's a lot of kind of mid cards in this set for Mage, and the really good like Volume Up is really good, but it's an epic card. You can't rely on like drafting it. Like Audio Splitter is good, but it's generally going to be pretty RNG whether you have to play this before you get the card that you actually want to copy. Otherwise, it's still really good, right? Like this card is always really good. But is it game winning good? That depends on some RNG. Um, Ultimately, this is a set, it's kind of like Hunter, right? Where you add a bunch of pieces that's meant to play with other stuff, but the other stuff isn't in this set itself. So what sets are coming in, what sets exist, what cards are already in core that Mage has that are like the big spells. And it's not as much as it needs to be, I think, for everything to come together in this synergy thing. All right. That's it for Mage. I'll see you guys in the next one for Paladin.